You're talking about some of his enemies in the press who find him as fair game. And you've offered him a sanctuary from that from time to time, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about this press coverage? Because he's a man in the public eye, isn't he? So maybe in some way he deserves to be...
I suppose that the man that sells Mars bars and Maltesers, if I'm allowed to advertise in the sweet agent's shop at 6:30 in the morning when he's going to a smoky factory, is either in for his smoky fags or some smoky attitude that somebody is going to cheer his otherwise condensance attitude. And I don't know what condensance means, but I mean, it's a word that I seem I should assume for a moment. It's like potting a white off a black through a double screw. But I mean, I think that Alex and I have been in the same way, coming back to Oscar Wilde, coming back to that menu. We're shocking or amusing, but we are professional entertainers. Alex doesn't do it solely for his own justification, and I promise you that I don't act because I think I'm so bloody marvelous. I do it for a living. He's a professional, so am I. And the public wish to be entertained by professional entertainers. Nothing further than that. If it was, the rest would be a mere popinjay.
Okay. Do you think this...
What do you mean, okay?
Well, I mean, okay. I was just concluding the question so I could start another one.
Remember the timing.
From what you're saying there, then, some of the press coverage that Alex has received has actually hurt him over the years, then? He's been bothered by what he's read in the press.
It's very difficult for me to make a decision about the way that Alex thinks, because I'm his mucker, I'm his mate. So far be it from me to be able to talk about that. Because if I did do so, then I would therefore prostitute the privacy of his life. And that I won't do. I think that Alex is probably the biggest dickhead in the world and probably has more opportunity to cause a sexual revolution than anybody else that I know. But then I've heard that about Gordon Richards. But then I hear that Gordon Richards and Charlie Smirk and people like that only had one ball.
I've heard some funny stories about you and him playing practical jokes. I remember one about you playing him, telling him that you had a very fine whiskey, which you would like him to try.
Oh, Chanel number 5. Yeah, that was it. And I've moved elsewhere from the big table and the big house that I used to live in. So I built what I consider to be, in the place that I live, a classic bar. And I was having a bath at the time, and I was looking for my sponge, and I opened the little box that had windows on the front, and my wife paints her face with all the Indian colours that are inside. It was red Indians did it, and they were fairly butch, weren't they? And in there I saw this Chanel number 5, and since I have been a child, I've always thought that Chanel number 5 was the expensive thing that you should buy your lady or your girlfriend or your mother, but they're always Chanel number 5. I didn't know about, I hadn't been educated any more than I am now about the other attitudes of life and what other perfumes are. So I took it and I poured it into a glass and ran down into the bar, and there was Alex, and I went round the corner. Here, Alex, I said, take that. And he said, what? What's that? I said, it's, I don't drink whiskey. He said, it sends me crazy. I don't drink whiskey. I said, chicken? Chicken what? Are you chicken? So he went, what? And then once it was down, he realized it was perfume. And so he was doing a chat show. I think one of those things for breakfast 1 o'clock or breakfast 5, one of those ridiculous things. You have to get up after you're playing Monopoly and get up very early in the morning, and you're put into a semi-posh hotel near the studios, and you come in with herring, and he was doing that, and he was flatulating, but not out of his orifice, so he wasn't actually trumping. He was burping. And so suddenly everybody thought that he was Jesus Christ because he was burping scent. And they thought that he was John the Baptist or Simon the Tanner or somebody like that. And so that's first of all how he got his very pride name of being a saint to me. I love him. I love him. I think he's bonkers. There are times in my life that I wished I hadn't ever seen him. The other day I was in Dublin, and he learned from a man who sells flowers that I was in Grattan's and singing Irish songs, and they said, no, he's gone down across the bridge, and he's probably in the Connell Street now, and he's probably at the Gresham talking to the old barman who's still about 90, but still remember him in his youth. And then Billy, my old taxi driver, had taken me to his brother's place, and that's all you do in Dublin, and that's all Alex does. And so if there is any search about the real quality of Higgins, it's because if somebody is caring enough, he will give them, as he gave me a birthday coat. He gave me a big blue coat because he was wearing them. I mean, as I told you earlier on, no, Alex is very soft, very nervous. Most people that are very nervous are very soft. If not, they become murderers. I mean, why did Craig and Bentley do that thing in Croydon if one didn't sit there and give it to him? But Alex is going to... the interesting thing about Higgins, and the one great weep, would be if he doesn't come back. Because when I first operated in terms of looking at people that were down in little studio halls down here, Joe and Fred Davis were the people. But they were there for centuries. But the young uns had never had the bloody chance. If Higgins doesn't come back, if the people's champion doesn't come back, then it's because he can't afford his own table. But it certainly won't be because he's crying over spilt milk. Done.
Fantastic.
About what?
About Chanel.
Oh, yes.
Sorry?
Do you want some more? Do you want more?
I don't know. We've got to go. We've got to go short.
You're going to see Jimmy, are you?
We've got another 15 minutes. We've got some
Well, I've timed you just about right, haven't I?
Yeah, that's the timing.
Is there one other question then?
The only other thing I was going to ask you.
Well,
The only thing I was going to
well,
ask.
just ask me. But don't just do it on.
Right, ready? Yeah. You talked about one of the practical jokes that you played on Alex. Has he got his own back yet?
I'm not sure which practical joke. The only practical joke that I ever played on Alex, she's still smiling.